free education done more harm than good?
It has done far more harm than good.
See, that's not mean you get up and you go. That's why we write exams. That's why we study. What happens to those who put in effort and then they just go in to sit in class with people who are not trying to make any effort?
You meet all these ragamuffins, weed smokers, and vagabonds. And they are not really even interested in the school.
The free education they are talking about, has it helped the poor or has it put more pressure on the poor now? Because right now, if you don't take your kid to school, they think free education is there. You are intentionally not taking your kid to school.
Oh, mama, maybe I choose and then one day a channel come I know you demand.
Someone could also argue that we probably knew your child would be going to school, so why didn't you start preparation?
Hello, welcome to the Same Blanket Studios. Today we are not doing the Same Blanket show. We are talking about the voice of the youth, and today I have two handsome and beautiful guests here, Mr. Aziz and Miss B, right? Now, how are you guys doing today?
We're good.
We're very good.
All right, so today we are coming to talk about an issue that is very important to the society and education. So, we're all in Ghana and we've all heard how these political parties are debating and all that. And one factor I think they are not really paying attention to is education, because people are saying there's free education and all that. You go against a certain government or you say something against them or something they've not done, and somebody will be there, or they even themselves will say, oh, there's free education. We have free education for you. But we all have questions about this free education and all that. And today's topic is, has free education done more harm than good? And I have Mr. Aziz here, who is a current benefactor of the free education system. So I invited you to let us know how the free education, how it worked on your side, since we are currently, we want to know how free education actually worked on your side, how the system actually worked on you.
Well, for me, it's no longer current. I'm done with those niggas. But in my opinion, which I think is quite valid, I think it has done far more harm than good. Because now the thing is basically wholesale. And they say if you want to bring a country down, you first need to bring down the standard of education. And that's exactly what the government has gone and done now. Now you go to school and then you meet all these ragamuffins, weed smokers, and vagabonds. And they are not really even interested in the school. And they are causing disturbance for you who has come that, oh, Charlie, I need to learn so I can go to uni and then move on in my life. Even in my own class, for example, it's always been known that Charlie visual arts killers. And that's the truth. My own class, they were like up to like 10, 15 people. Charlie, 2 semesters, they don't come to school because they are not interested in school. For them, is that they want to come and then just have the word that, oh, Charlie, I also went to SHS. It's not a matter of certificates, nothing. That's why they wrote the word, Charlie, street to mock, street to semester exam, street to. That's just how it has been going. But, you know, the thing is, the free education, it could have been good, but they didn't make ample arrangements for it, or they didn't make enough allowance for the free education system. Right now, the free education is just haphazard in one way or another. Because if you go to schools, then sometimes there's no food for the kids, and then sometimes the food, even if it's there, how good is it? When I was in school, there was a time where eating gas, that's starch-based sauce, with gari, wet gari, in the dining hall, not anywhere else, in the dining hall. So it's very bad. Over to.
Okay, Miss B, he was talking about the food and any updates. The thing is, the first batch of the benefactors of the free education, they actually enjoyed, and I think they enjoyed because the system was already there for them to go and join, enjoy everything. Because the how do you call it in SHS, dormitory, the dormitories were well made and all that. But right now, because of the amount of people going inside the school and all that, it is affecting the place. And some of the schools were even complaining that their students don't even have where to sleep and all that. The first batch actually got good food to eat. For that one, I can attest to that. They got good food to eat, right place to sleep and all that. But as it continued, there was no infrastructures being built or anything being added to what we already had. And that has been what caused the problem of infrastructure and food and anything. They've not added anything. They just put in like it's free education. What do you think that the government can do about like these type of things to make the free education better or more quality? Because right now they call it quantity more than quality.
Yeah, certainly. I think one thing that the government will really have to look at is to bring back the Sultan procedure. You know, before you go to school, there is a good cutoff point for each and every school. The fact that it's free education and we all have access to go to school doesn't mean that you move into school with a grade that do not fit the category of school. And yeah, that will make people who are truly willing to learn, willing to pursue education, be the ones to get into the school, all by being free, right? Yeah. Because it's free, that's something you get up and you go. That's why we write exams. That's why we study. What happens to those who put in effort and then they just go in to sit in class with people who are not trying to make any effort? You know, back in primary school, there were even some schools that would put, let's say, more brilliant students in one class, or they will mix some brilliant students with those who are not so good to balance it out. And every school had reasons for doing that. But when the bad outweighs the good, then that becomes a huge problem. So I think that is one thing they should really look at. Not everybody should get access to gold just because it's free. Free is good. People cannot afford it. And like you said, the first batch was good. Yeah, I can also attest to that. The first batch was really good. Even though they also faced struggles in structures and all of that, but it was good. But now moving forward, everything has escalated. The whole thing is bad and it's not helping the country. It could really become better, or we could go back to our old system.
Yes. So the sitting government, which is the NPP government, says they have improved the quality of education because they have gotten a good amount of Ghanaians into these schools and all that. Do you think it has helped the poor and the rich to go inside the same pot, or it is still benefiting the rich more than the poor? Because they just released results and they were supposed to be enrolled on this 30th. This 30th though, when results was released just a few days before, like 3 or 4 days before. And I think their deadline is around 7th of this month, November. So the free education they are talking about, has it helped the poor or has it put more pressure on the poor now?
Maybe 2 weeks and then one day a
Of course, right now, if you don't take your kid to school, they think free education is there. You are intentionally not taking your kid to school. Meanwhile, there are other things involved when it comes to taking your kid to school, in buying lots of things, which is more because you need at least 2,000 or 1,500 to even cater for your kid to take your kid to school. And most of these kids, some of them have even gotten schools that are away from even their reach. They have to travel to some places and all that. Do you think the government has helped with this type of free education? It has helped the poor, or it is rather putting pressure on the poor?
Okay, so in this very situation, I personally do not see it as being a poor or a rich factor, right? Yes, let's look at the rich. They may be rich and then they could buy all the items and then the kid is going to school. I think both for children and parents, we need ample time to prepare for something as important as education. You don't just come, results are released, and then you are going to school being unprepared. Maybe the vacation being, what was the time length since they came home and the results came? How many months?
The results, I think it took like 2 or 3 months for the results to come.
So they've been home about 3 months.
Yeah, it's been like 2 or 3 months.
Okay, in that factor, right, someone could also argue that you probably knew your child would be going to school. So why didn't you start preparation?
Yeah.
But also, probably a lot of people are really used to the old system where we had ample time to prepare. They could have also brought a full announcements that, okay, results will be released on this date, and in 2 weeks' time, kids are supposed to go to school, or 1 week time, that would give us preparation. And purchasing of items, the cost, it also comes to play. And it really, really does affect the poor. But like I'm saying, if you know your child is going to go to school, if you have it in mind, oh, it's free, so everybody's going, even if you have no money, even if you have broad things, and you still have to prepare. Like there should have been preparation, right? So personally, on a very personal level, I think you cannot blame it on finances and rich and poor factor that way.
Okay, Aziz, do you agree with it that there's still, like, it is not putting pressure on the poor? They had ample time to actually prepare within those months, because some of them, they have no idea where their kids are going, because you don't know. You had first, second, and some people didn't even get any of them, and their school might be out of reach. That one too also factors. So do you agree that it is not putting pressure on the poor or anything like that?
Well, from my standpoint, really it's putting pressure on everyone, whether it's rich or poor. Because the thing is, even if there is a river, let's take that as an analogy for the rich people's account. Whatever you do, if you are draining the river every single day to service a town, eventually the water will run out. You see, now the thing is that even when you go to school, still after submitting the items and all those things from your perspective, still you have to pay money. Every semester when you come, you have to pay money. Even when we were signing our clearance to come home, almost every office you go to, you have to pay money. So now the thing is all about your money. So whether you are rich, whether you are poor, you have to open your pockets. But also, one thing I've realized is that the system has, because of how deteriorated the free education system is, now rich parents are not taking their children to government SHS again. Those who can afford it, of course, will not take their children to government SHS. For example, I for one, I wasn't supposed to go to a government SHS, but a few things happened. So my parents just decided actually, because I'm a twin, so they decided actually you just go like that. So I realized, so now all the rich kids, they are going to the private schools where the parents know that, oh, I'm paying money, so my kids are being treated right. And the poor children are being taken to the public schools. And the thing with that is that when the kids get into the public schools, those who are wishy-washy in between, serious, not serious, they fall into two groups. Either they get influenced by the bad boys and bad girls and fall further into their own deterioration, or they get inspired by the good students, those who are racing to the top, and then rather also push to get their spot at the top. So right now, the thing is more like the whole country is deteriorating. The rich getting richer, the poor getting poorer. The rich are getting higher level of education, the poor are getting lower level of education. So right now, the country is whack. It's just whack.
So if people are not trusting the education system in Ghana now, that they can't take their words into the public system that we are saying, or the sitting government is saying, they've made it free. Do you think it has affected the quality and standard of the education in Ghana right now? Because they say, whatever I say, they say you have free education. We just say free education, we just go for it. Do you think free education has affected the quality and standard of education right now? Yeah, Ms. P.
Certainly, I believe it has affected quality, right? I didn't experience the school system, and I wouldn't want to say based on the results that came out, but even based on results that you take into the school before. Like before, you studied hard, you worked hard to get into Wesley Girls, to get into Persec, to get into all these schools that are acclaimed big schools, right? Then the others follow. But now, because of free education, people with the lowest cutoff could get into some of these schools. Now, I'm not saying that with a low grade from the lower primary or the lower class, you cannot make it better in the secondary school. You could, because I remember initially people were like, "Oh yeah, somebody gets like an grade 20, they're in, let's say, percent. They're sitting with smart people, so then they will level up." No, there is no assurance of that. There is accountability in everything. That's why we write exams. It's because of accountability. Else we wouldn't have done that. And it should have always been there and not be compromised because of free education. So yes, certainly quality has been truly compromised. And would you say, Aziz, that it's because of free education that is actually compromised? I feel like this is two different things here, but because it was not structured right, that is why the concept of it being free is affecting the quality.
Alright, so coming to you, Aziz, if we're saying that the free education has affected the quality of education, right now, because of free education, there's no cutoff point. Anyone can enter, you just go like that.
Because where I came from, that is what we did. When we are in university, we ain't very good grades, so then, we know, but we make sure and they were doing well.
Because they know that don't make me for ways and means to pass and they are not learning. Is that your point?
They are not learning because they know there's no cutoff at the SHS. No cutoff for them. And
so would you say this the nature of implementation of this policy, for SHS, the quality standard Akufo?
Later on, Abai had to do certain things. For instance, enrollment levels. Abai a problem. He wants to put more students in the school. I mean, he has sent a cut off. Maybe say, "What be something?" I did a bit near a year. I'm at SHS. I hear very well. If he said there should be a cut off, name up okay. Why not 30? I am my own school. I could be a bit shared. So being at 30, near money free.
It's the question I asked you. They say, "Obeka quality of learning," and I said the standard a perform because of this cutoff point that we can say.
Oh yes, because I could GSS who say SHS they are banned you. By GSS ne capitation grant name and grant comprehending in the amount and because we headmasters also need the authority to ask for money or this, that. And the appellants on them when No, they are better than SSS. With a 53. Mimi school, my 53. So,
Mr. Boma, it's what can say standard na conform no. Just in 1 minute. Just in 1 minute. Then after say bit me ya must standard it's me kosoro. Just in 1 minute.
Okay. First and foremost, yema cutoff and yet very important.
Okay. Okay.
The cutoff never, I tell you, it will create a whole lot of things.
Okay. Then number 2.
Buying M1. One day, the money will be sent to the schools as fast as possible for the headmasters to be able to work and work well.
Do you think that no cutoff point has also affected the quality and standard of education right now?
From my standpoint, as I always say, the whole free education program has definitely affected the quality of education as for the whole country. Because let me just give you an example. I was in Form 3. I wrote my WASI in August, September, and I came home in the middle of September. And the kids I was with when they were in Form 1 are now in Form 2. And if you were to calculate the amount of time they've collectively spent in school, it won't even reach 8 months. You not even spent 8 months in school, and you move from Form 1 to Form 2. And those kids I was with who were in Form 2, if you were to calculate, they won't reach up to 1 year. 1 year in SHS yet. And yet they've moved from Form 3, from Form 1, Form 2 to Form 3. All within the span of less than a year. Meanwhile, the thing is a 3-year program. I'll take myself for an example. If I was to calculate all the time I spent in school, I reported to SHS first, May 2022. May 2022. I reported, I think that was, I don't remember the exact date, but I think 12th or 13th May 2022. And then I completed SHS September 2024. Put that into perspective. That means I spent about 2 years and about 3 months, 3 to 4 months in school. Because I wouldn't count the months preceding the WASI, because that time is mock season and no teacher comes to class. You are just learning on your own. Because this day, these people have paper. This day, these people don't have paper. So, and I also count the WASI time, because that's when you are finishing. So, I spent only 2.5 months, 2 years, 2.5 years in SHS. But I'm supposed to spend up to like 3. And that 3 is not inclusive of the WASI time. So, the quality has definitely deteriorated. And keep in mind, this 2.5 years I'm speaking of, most of the time I spent at home. So it reached a point my parents were like, Charlie, you have to go for extra classes. So that, because that was when we were going to Form 3. When I was in Form 1, Form 2, I was doing well enough. I was in the top ranks of my class. But they said Form 3 year, it's no longer about your being the top of your class. You have to be able to be ready for the WASI. So I agreed and I went for the classes. And actually it helped a bit because they were teaching Form 3 topics. But as a whole, quality of education in Ghana has severely dropped and declined. The only institutions exempt to this decline in the quality of education is university, because universities are independent of the government.
Yeah. All right. So we're still on free education, and the running mate for the New Patriotic Party, Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, Napo, as they know him to be, in his interview with Peace FM, he made a statement that he said, the free education has improved teenage pregnancy. Teenage pregnancy has reduced due to free education. And we made a little research, 2015, as at 2015, the percentage, and we check 2024, the percentage, and there's no difference. They stay the same.
Every year, they got teenage pregnancy. When was the last time what is the major line news about on teenage pregnancy?
Meaning
the free SHS has been the single biggest transformational tool for the citizenry of Ghana.
Do you agree with him that free education has twisted and has helped the society? Because that was their citation on the society, that it has affected the society like this, but the society has also stayed the same. You can't be educating the people and still have the same results as you used to have back then. I hope you understand it. So, do you agree with him that it has free education affected or impacted the society in a good way or a good manner so far?
Well, of course, education is always good. Whether the quality is very high or not, it is education is education. Because through education, people get inspired. When people get inspired, they innovate. When they innovate, growth comes about in society. So of course, it has helped a bit. But Napo saying that it has helped the teenage pregnancy, please, he's lying. I don't know why in this day and age, 2024, a month away from 2025, and a politician will open his mouth and you listen and you say, maybe I'll consider this. Don't consider anything. They are always lying. But it has helped, of course. Free education has helped. But Napo is still lying.
But do you think free education has helped in results of these students? Because there are some students that that have gone to school. I know them, they never even saw science student, they never even saw the science lab. They have no idea. Teachers are complaining. I mean, if you were improving free education, at least the teachers' pay should actually rise, because right now they are going to have more amount of people to deal with. There's no increase in the teaching system. There's no addition to anything. You are putting pressure on them, and then you are just putting everything on the whole school board, everything. How do you think MPP could actually improve these things, help the teachers? Of course, like, apart from everything, the students level, the teachers are also suffering, to be frank. The teachers are also going through it.
From my standpoint, I think they need to scrap the whole project and start again. Because it's better that if you are building a tower, it's better if you reach a certain point and you say, no, this thing will fall down. You break it yourself and then you start again with a more structured plan. Then you see that, it might fall down. You know in your heart that it might fall down, and you continue until it falls down. So it's best, I think, for Ghana, I think, based off our economic situation and all these other issues, inflation and all those things, I think it's best they scrap the whole thing and then restart from the beginning. They investigate what went wrong with the first launch of the program and the goings of the first program. How did it cause a deterioration of education, the standard of education and all those things? And they start again. That's the only way, from my standpoint. They need to start again.
Yeah. Ms. B, how do you think we can actually improve the education in Ghana? Because I've heard these politicians give manifestos and all that. I've not heard anything about improving or making better I think I've heard something from the NDC side saying they could improve things. But what do you think they could actually do to improve this free education or SHS?
No, this free education, right? It goes beyond politics, and certainly the government's economy also comes into play. Now, using the government's economy and everything that is going on, I do not have the personal knowledge to say, okay, we have to tweak this, we have to thin this, we have to do that to make it better. Like, I do not know like the whole details to say, okay, these are the specific points that the government should do. But one thing we could do, the government could do, is get feedback from the schools and the students, the teachers, see how they are struggling, right? If it's from the economic standpoint too, they should look into other aspects that could bring in more money. Because certainly the free education has helped, it has helped to some extent, for those who really couldn't afford school, because there are so many people that wouldn't have been able to also go to secondary school at all, right from the BEC level, right? And some of these people have gone. So scraping it off completely, that would be a problem, because it's a policy that has begun. And as a nation as a whole, right, when a project or a policy comes on, and then we go back to scrape it off, like it just does not help the country as a whole. It's not just free education, but every other thing that is put in place by government to help the people. So instead of just scraping it off, they should get feedback from the students, see how we need to find, if it's funds that they need, if we have to put it into other places. And this inflation and all that, it really goes beyond just the free education. It's the whole management of the government, which I do not have a lot of knowledge and information on. But yeah, they have to improve it, not just scrape it off, but it has to be improved. Because if right now they go like, okay, we are stopping it, and we'll begin in maybe another 2 years, it may or may never come on. And then what does it say as a nation as a whole, like a whole country? Because I heard from someone from Germany, right, who said if Ghana has been able to provide free education, Germany already has free education even to their university level, then they are going to provide free bus services to their country, right? So what message would it go out there as a country? Maybe other African countries who are facing similar economic situation as us, maybe trying to, emulate us, and they go like, oh, even this country did it and they failed. Like they couldn't what shows we can do this. So I think they should bring in better policies. They should explain to the people, and they should get feedback from we the people, because we are the government. If you are not getting our feedback, you're just doing anything and everything. In the end, it doesn't help anyone. So yeah.
Okay. So we'll leave the rest for the viewers to put theirs under the comment section. I don't know about most of the political parties, but I don't know who is going to win or whoever. But whoever is going to win, we have John Dramani Mahama, who is planning on improving it. And if you're improving, you need to contact these people in the schools, because they are really going through whatever is going on. Free SHS is not just about the students. There's teachers, it affects the infrastructures and all things. Students need books and all that, because there are students in school that are not even getting books. They have no idea, but at the end of the day, the exams will come and they'll pass magically. And to the MPP government as well, if you happen to stay in power, I think we advise you to improve on the free education. I'm not saying it's not good. It's good, but the direction is moving in a different direction. It's not helping as it was planned and as we know it should go. And to Nana Kwame Bediako, I've not heard anything about how you will improve your education or the educational system. I think he's doing too much of Anas Aremeya's work, and I don't think that's more important, or the Galamsey and all that. It's important, but as a person who is standing for a president, I think there's more to do than just that. There are more social problems to fight than just the Galamsey is there, but when you do some, you just have to leave some away. Because doing videos and putting it all out there doesn't solve anything. it doesn't solve anything. We just know everything is doing. Most of us, we already know that maybe the Galamsey, they big people under it, big people supporting it and all that. That's why they can't scrap it away and all that. So we will advise him, as people say that he is representing the youth. The youth also need education, and we need him to improve that as well. So this is where we'll end our first episode of the Youth Talk, as I put it, but today we'll end it here. Let's have your ideas in the comment section. Thank you very much for joining. Bye bye.